Well, good evening, everybody. I'm Julia Royston of BK Royston Publishing. Come on in, share the video, leave your comment, be ready with your questions. And the first thing I want to show you, if you have not downloaded your money checkup, here's the link. Go there and get it so you'll be ready to go when we're ready to go. Now, I've talked to Miss Rita Oliver, who I'm going to introduce and let her introduce herself. She says, some of you, congratulations, awesome, have downloaded the money checkup too. So you've done that. You've decided I got to get my money right, And I even put in my email list today. I said, "Money answereth all things," which it does. It may not buy you love, but it will buy you some things, all things. So if it's a thing, money will get that. So I'm super excited always to have my good friend Miss Rita Oliver. I want her to introduce herself and tell us where we can find her on social media. And then I'm going to put up her website. While y'all are taking a picture of that, the money checkup too, make sure you get that. And then I want you to go to her website so you can continue to follow. Right? Do I have the right website? RitaOliverSOS.com.
That's correct.
Yay! So Miss Rita Oliver, introduce yourself, love, and tell us where you're from and all that good stuff.
Hey, thank you so much, Julia, for having me. So, my name is Rita Oliver, and I am a master financial coach. And I am originally from Mississippi. I'm a Southern girl. I say a Mississippi magnolia, Julia.
Uh,
And that is a state flower. So I'm from Mississippi, and so I have been here in Texas since 1987, and I'm a master financial coach. And what I do is I help single and two income earners to end paycheck to paycheck living. And how do I do that? I do that with my private one-on-one coaching that contains financial strategies to help you to start to save, get rid of that debt, save for retirement so that you can build the wealth and leave the legacy for your family. So,
Wonderful, wonderful,
mhm.
excellent. So there's her website, Rita Oliver SOS. We are having, for first off, April is Financial Literacy Month, and
Yes.
so first off, I want you to define what is financial literacy. What does that actually mean for people?
Well, what financial literacy means is that let's break down to two words, financial and literacy. So, literacy means that it is about gaining the confidence, the knowledge, and the skills about a particular subject matter. And then, of course, when it comes to financial, we're talking about money, resources to help you to live your life, the means of exchange. That's what money is, the means of exchange. So when you put financial literacy together, those two words, Julia, it is about learning, getting the skills, getting the knowledge of how to manage your resources better so that you can have them for a lifetime.
Exactly, exactly. Now, let me just tell you a little bit, kind of the history of me. So, I was single for 13 years, and but and always, my parents, we worked really, really hard. Most people say, "Oh, girl, they had it going on." We did, but we worked really hard at it. And one of those things, my dad, he was a teacher full time in the day, but it was just the janitorial service in the evenings, and we had major dealings going. We had 50 employees. It was a major, major deal. But over time, the business changed. I got married, then I got divorced, and all that. And
Mhm.
before I really I didn't even know his name. I didn't even know who he was. God started bringing it to me that I needed to get my act together before my next husband was going to come along. And one of the biggest things was money. I had to get a right relationship with money because I love to shop. Me and Rita had that in common. We love to shop. We love clothes. And the church organization where I was with, people remember, didn't you wear that the last conference? Did you have that out? So they would keep up. So therefore, we felt like it was our obligation to have the latest and greatest. Well, that kept you in debt a lot and all the time, and the travel on top of it, which were fun and enjoyed it. But now that I'm 57, get ready to be 58, I'm like, girl, if you had that money you had back then. So before I got remarried, I had to really sit down and start looking at my money. It just in prayer time and everything, God was like, you got to get a good relationship with money. So
Hmm.
you got to get a right relationship with money. And so that's really what that is. I wish above all that prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. So everything needs to be working for you to live that abundant life, live your best life, like I have on Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Hint, hint. Is that you've got to have everything working. So your health, your career, and your money. So, and I know money is the one of the hardest conversations,
It,
hardest thing to have,
it is. It,
so it really is, but you got to be able to finally come face to face with it. And so that's what we're going to be talking about tonight, coming face to face with it, and having that checkup. So all right, so tell us about the money checkup. Tell us a little about it. You only get three things because everybody's got to go get the money checkup. And let me put
okay.
that link back up again. Money
Okay.
checkup to bit.ly / money checkup two, the number two,
Hmm.
not TWO, but the number two, and download yours so you'll have it. But we're going to talk about three things. I'm going to turn it over to Rita.
Okay, well, the first thing, Julia, when it comes to, and everybody, when it comes to the financial checkup or money checkup, here is basically getting to the basics, which is income and expenses. I have done many lives, I've done many posts about this, and I'm going to continue to say it because it's the truth and it's the fundamentals. Is that you got to know your income and expenses. You have to know what's coming into your home, into your bank account, into your household, and you have to know what's going out. You must know that. Those are the fundamental foundations of finance right there for your household. Because when we talk about financial literacy and financial checkup, if the income and expenses are out of balance, then we are not having a good checkup. When you go to the doctor, they tell you the blood pressure up, A1C, all of this. So it's not a good checkup, which means then you got to get in there and do some things to clear it up. So with income and expenses, we got to know first and foremost what our net income is, single or married. And then we got to know these expenses. Are we spending on what we need or what we want? Julia and I just talked about shopping. We both love shopping. Shopping is a want more so than a need. So with the expenses, it's two types. It's fixed and it's variable. Fixed are those things that will be with you. That's your utilities, your gas, your lights, your water. You know, Variable are things like your mortgage, auto, student loan, credit card debt. Those are the things that you need to look at to reduce and eventually eliminate out of your life. Your income and expenses, because one of the basic things you want to get to in financial literacy and financial checkup to get to financial wellness is you want to live on less than you earn. That's the key to it, is living on less than you earn. But unless you know income and expenses, you're not going to do that. And the way you do that is, Julia, I did a post. I said, you got to have a budget, is not just about the numbers, it's a vision. And we were told that in Habakkuk 2 too, to write the vision down and make it plain. And that's what it comes to with income and expenses. You got to write it down and just make it plain. That's it.
So when so let's go back to the beginning. Income and expenses, the same thing. So let's speak to first off the 21-year-old, the 20
Yeah,
to 30 some people
yeah.
who are starting all over. Because I mean the 40s and 50s, ooh, we got a lot to do really fast. But the 20s to the 30s, about 40, you should hopefully have it. But let's speak to the
Okay.
20 some year
Let's
old,
speak
the
to
people
the
who
20.
have
Yeah.
kids and all of that. So
So the 20
basically,
year
what do
old,
they be doing?
what they should be doing, Julia, is pretty much if they've come out of college and they're working in corporate America, or if they just came out of high school and started working, they've been working several years. That they got to look at their income, look at their expenses, and definitely with the income to see if they have enough, because it could be insufficient, which means that two things you got to do: cut back on your expenses or go get another side hustle to cover your expenses and earn more money. One of the gauges I want to give you right here as a millennial, and even for anyone older that may still be in the workforce and may stay for several more years, is one of the gauges I used on my income to know I was getting ahead, is I always wanted to be making two times my age. Two
Mm.
times my age. If I was making two times my age, Julia, then I knew I was earning more and growing and moving. You got to keep your income growing. That's a fundamental there. So my gauge was 2 times my age. So if you're 20, you should be making $40,000 a year or moving toward that. So as you get 25, 50,000. So that's your gauge to know that you are earning more. Then as you earn more, as I just talked about, you don't want to live. Number one, you're not going to receive the 50,000. You're going to
No.
get less than that. Then whatever you do receive, you want to live on less than that, because then that's money to save. That's money to pay those expenses, because you want to have everybody. You want to have disposable income that allows you to do other things and allows you to grow your money. Am I
Right.
making sense?
And invest. I never and one of the things, even back to before I was remarried in 2006, my husband is a major saver and he's a major investor. And I was like, well, it just grows on trees, right? My daddy's going to have it and it's going to be out there, and I'm just going to, if I need more, I'm going to get more, and I'm going to have the hustle. But that doesn't always happen that way. You have to look at it strategically, and there is going to have to be that big word. You got to have to figure out what you say yes to and what you say no to, and what
Absolutely.
is important to you, and what you're willing to do more to get, and what
That's
is
true.
a deal
That's true.
breaker.
That's
And
true.
as you get older, vacations are important to me, and travel is important to me. But some of the other things, now that I'm home, clothes is on the bottom of my list. It's just
Well, I
clothes
told
to
you,
cover myself. That's all.
I
You know.
told you I'm getting ready. I'm off work this week. I'm getting ready to have a consignment. People come up here to get some. So,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna make me some money on it, which will
Right.
be for my travel.
Right.
So, that's another thing, Julia, in earning income. If you've gone into credit card debt and you got, particularly women, got a bunch of clothes in there, you're not wearing them, you can try to get them to a consignment store somewhere and sell them and get you some money. You
I
know,
know. Them side hustles is really they really taking on. That whole side hustle thing is really, especially in the virtual, digital, and online space, don't sleep on them side hustles, because they can do some things and you could be making money while you sleep.
that's true, because I can tell you right, for consignment, I do 2 consignment store. I do 3. I do one that's here in Dallas. I do two online. One that's a high end, and then there's another one, Poshmark, where I take the
Mhm.
pictures myself and post it. And when the people buy, I ship it, and they give me my money.
Yeah.
So it's all available, because people are looking for ways to spend. People want to spend their money, and people are looking for good stuff. And
Right.
so, a lot of stuff, looking for things that are lasting, if I could say.
Yes, that's it.
Trends but
That's it.
styles. And so
Hi.
people
Yeah.
are selling those. And then so
Right.
as you have the younger women going into corporate America, you have older women like myself selling some of those clothes.
Yeah, because we're not gonna need that. No, we're
You
not.
know,
We're gonna be looking cute now. We're gonna look nice and all that kind of stuff. And as they say, we're gonna be clean and we're gonna be nice.
but
But
that's
number one, Karen Brown says, "Let's go clear. Let me go clear my."
that's right. Go clear your closet and get you some money.
But
That's right.
that's the really beauty of even the pandemic and all that. You start reevaluating all of it. Like, what is that really? Is that absolutely necessary? And as you get older, I'm sorry, as I've gotten older, it's more about comfort clothes. It's all about, now I'm not talking about sweatpants and wearing pajamas and got your scarf on your head. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about things that switch and match and go with a multiplicity of things that you can put a jacket over and go and all of that. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about going out in pajama pants and now I will
Correct.
for
Yeah. I mean,
flip
I
flops,
see
but
people
you know.
I've never understood that. But yes, particularly for women. And then, of course, they got men consignment stores too. Put
Exactly,
this stuff,
exactly.
handbags, shoes, jewelry, put
Yeah,
this stuff and make you some money and get that money and put it in a savings account. Put it somewhere that it can be of use to you. That's
and grow it and all that kind of
it.
stuff.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So how much is emergency funds? How
So
much? How many
emergency
months?
So emergency fund, the rule of thumb was 3 to 6 months. But when I look at it with the pandemic, you're really going to need about 3 to 9, even 12 months, Because the pandemic, we've been in over a year now. We're kind of starting to emerge with the vaccine, but you need at least 3 to 9 months of living expenses. That's why those expenses, knowing them, Julia, are so important
Right.
because you need to know what you spend every month to live. What does it cost you to live? Same thing I'd ask a business owner. What does it cost you to run the business? What does it cost you to run your household every month? You need to know that number. And that's back to that vision, that budget of writing it down to
Yeah,
see
and
the
you
income.
can't put them envelopes in the drawer. You
You
cannot do it. You got to
okay.
get them all out, and you got to figure out, what you you just, I mean, it's a real place. You cannot slide them envelopes in the drawer and ignore that, and not. You just eventually have to have your own come to Jesus meeting with yourself
You
and
do.
say, all right, what do I have to have, and then what are those things that I just, they're expendable, they're flexible. I don't really have to have that. I don't really have
No.
to do that. I don't
Mm.
really have to go there, and I don't have to be a part of that. So knowing that income and knowing those expenses is really critical.
It's critical. And so it's also too, when you know the income and expenses and then you are living on less than you make and you got money saved for emergencies. Because Julia, when we talk about savings, you know savings should be an expense in your budget. Savings should be an expense, a fixed expense. You should have a fixed amount allocated that's withdrawn to go for you. And you save for three things. You save for emergencies, you save for large purchases, and you save for retirement, which we're going to talk about later. So
Right.
the sale up at Nordstrom is not an emergency.
No. You may think it is, but it's definitely not at home. Not when you got Nordstrom stuff in your closet and it still got the tickets on it.
That's why you need to go on and move it out to the consignment store.
Yeah. Okay. So Karen says my husband recently minimized TV channels, cut out several other things for saving probably over $200 a month. Was just that, that with those changes.
And you know what? I'm so glad. What's that? Karen says
Karen.
it because I say that too. People think cable is a fixed expense. Cable is a variable expense. I do not understand a $200 cable bill. I just do not, and not going to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
There's certain channels I like though, and my husband, he's trying to get me out of it. Like, okay, we can do Roku and we can do the Fire Stick, and I was like, oh,
now
that's
I'll
just
say
so like,
I have the Fire Stick, but I
yeah,
have a Spectrum. So
okay,
Spectrum runs me by $90 a month, and that's for internet and for the cable. So
yeah.
now I need the internet, the high
Oh
speed.
yeah, we got that's a business expense.
Right, that's
Internet is not a that is fixed and that's non-negotiable for me. That's just
yeah.
not a
But when
that's
you
not
start
a
talking $200 and $300 on the cable bill, to me, I think that's just too much. But her husband did a great thing, so she said he
yeah.
changed to Roku. But
Roku, yeah.
but he went in there and did what I just said. He went in there on that variable and said it's
Yes.
gonna reduce it or eliminate it. He did it.
Right.
That's exactly what
Yeah.
to do. That's
And
exactly
you
what
have
to
to
do.
be in it together. So I'm
And
I'm
you got to
still
be in
working
it
on
together.
the I'm working on that part because she said and Hulu $64 opposed to 200. Okay, Karen, you
So
helping
we
me.
got
You
136.
helping on you on Brian's team. You helping on Brian's team.
So
Team Brian.
we got $136 that they could put somewhere in the savings account. When
Right. Yes.
she go ahead and do those, start setting that consignment. That's some more money. See what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
So it's about
Yeah.
flowing it in,
Yeah.
not so much flowing out. Because it's like this, Julia. You want it to stay and grow, not flow and go.
Uh-oh. Come on, say that one more time. I'm you like they do in church. Say that again. Say that again.
You want your money to stay and grow, not
Stay and
flow
grow.
and grow. Flow and
Stay
go.
and grow.
Stay and grow, not flow and go. That's what
Not
you want
flow
to
and
do.
go. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
that right now we saw what that could do.
I
I
mean,
know people have seen a year of that, and I really I wanted to have this not just because she had the money checkup, but
mhm.
and financial literacy. Yeah, I know. Stay and grow, not flow and go. Yeah. Thank
That's
you, Karen,
exactly
for
right.
being my
That's what
scribe
you need
tonight.
somebody to do. But you
Yeah.
can't do that unless you got a vision. And that vision is about that income and expenses and what you're spending and writing it down. As Julia said, we all have to face it. You do. I had to face it. You got to face it. You just can't get all this stuff anymore. And where are you going to put it? I'm getting
It's
ready to figure
right.
that
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Where you gonna put it?
Where you
So
gonna put it?
now,
Where you gonna wear it? Where you gonna go? That
where
you
you
go
gonna go?
not gonna have a mask over and people not gonna even really be able to see you. I mean, you just have to finally, as they say, grow up and say, oh,
Yeah.
wait a minute. I'm impressing who and why and what for. It just no,
Exactly.
no,
And the
no.
pandemic has taught us, particularly I, as a money coach, I see that the pandemic, Julia, gave us this opportunity to get in here and clean stuff out, to get in here
Yes.
and really see about our money because you couldn't go anywhere but to the grocery store and go get some cleaning supplies and maybe get some takeout. So the pandemic put us back in to take a really deep look within
Right.
on some other issues because if you think about a lot of money we were spending were distractions or
Yes. Yes.
distractions.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so, dining out, that's all fine and good. But I find myself now, I'm not really that eager to go dine out anymore.
No, because you don't know what they're doing up in there and who's in there and what they got and what's going
That's right.
on and how
That's
clean
right.
they are. And believe you
That's
me, I've
right.
had some family members that we just walked out. We saw some things they was doing and we we just walked out. So and I am not the cook. Fortunately, Mr. Brian Royston, hallelujah, thank you, Jesus, is a chef. Or he can pretty
Oh,
much
wow.
he can cook anything I can think of. So if
Okay,
in
well,
nothing else, he
good.
gonna get a recipe and swear. Okay. Yeah. So her husband, Karen said her husband Gary is where she's from. He's from and loves your beautiful accent. I say, yeah,
Oh,
honey. Texas mixed with Mississippi. Come on through. She gonna
I'm a
talk
tech,
about that cash.
Julia, I'm a Texipian.
Texippi, is that what we are? Okay. Cause honey, that's my girl right there, honey. Rita and Karen's them over there in Virginia. Yeah, I love it. I
Okay.
love it.
Okay, but so
So
but
it's
he did the
yeah.
right thing. He got in
Yeah.
there on them expenses and said he reducing and eliminating the variable. That's how you put money back in your pocket. That's how you do it.
Exactly,
That's
exactly.
exactly
Okay, so number two is a big one because
yeah,
we
yeah,
number two we gonna go to the number two. Now,
yeah.
retirement is number three, but number two is the will thing, and
You gonna
that's a
you gonna
hard thing.
we're gonna
And
go will then retirement.
will then retirement.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
because
all
we're
right.
gonna go will, or should
Okay.
we do retirement then will?
I think we need to do retirement first.
Okay, so let's talk about retirement. I'm gonna get on out, and you
Okay.
take it over. Let's talk about.
Okay. Well, retirement is a major life planning event, and retirement does not happen unless you do something about it. You got to initiate it, you got to plan it, and you got to execute it. Now, if you are employed and your employer has a employer-sponsored retirement plan for you, you definitely need to take advantage of it. Retirement is a time in our lives where we stop working or we do something called semi-retire, where we may work part-time. But retirement, as I said, does not happen unless you do something about it. So if you are in your working, employed, you have an employer-sponsored plan, a 401k, 403b, or 457b. Those are defined contribution plans where you contribute a portion of your salary to the plan and your employer matches you. So the most common that we have today is the 401k. That's an employer-sponsored plan. If you're self-employed, you have the opportunity to develop to contribute to what's called a simple IRA. You could small business owners as well could have a 401k. But the key is on retirement is that we have got to contribute to that. And the best thing to do is to contribute is have that money automatically withdrawn from your earnings, whether you that is if you're employed, and then of course as a business owner to route it there is to automatically have it withdrawn. Today, 2021, the Internal Revenue Service allows us to contribute $19,500 a year to our 401k, to our retirement plan. Then, of course, we also have what you can do outside of your employer is an individual retirement account, an IRA. If you're under 50, you can put $6,500 in there. If you're over 50, like I am, you can put $7,000 a year in there. So when we look at the 401k, that $19,500 a month, that gives us three things in this country when it comes to our taxes: tax deferral, tax avoidance, and tax reduction. Because see, when you contribute that money into your 401k, it is reducing your taxable income. So you're avoiding taxes on that amount of money. And then you get to defer the taxes until you pull that money out. So I am a stickler and a huge proponent that you have got to contribute to your retirement. You don't have a choice here. If you're a millennial and you're working in corporate America and they have a 401k, you need to start contributing what your employer contributing the amount where your employer will match you, which is usually about 5%. You need to start contributing that and get that matching on 5%. If you work in the federal government like I do, you can contribute, you can do the up to 10%, or of course do the maximum. I am a proponent that you need to put the maximum in your retirement, okay? And $19,500. That is $750 every 2 weeks. That's $1,500 a month going for your retirement. Then you get your employer matching. With the matching on that at 5 to 6%, you're talking about $27,000, $28,000 going away for you for retirement. Then it's about investing in the right investment securities to grow your retirement. Most employer plans out here have index funds, indexed to the S&P 500, to the Dow Jones, all the Russell 2000. But the key here is that you have got to contribute to the retirement. You need to contribute to the employer plan, and you need to have an IRA outside of that. Because we are getting older, things are getting more expensive, and you have got to have money to live the rest of your life. You see, when you retire, you're living off the assets that you built. There's no more employer. And you think about it, you're going to have to pay for health insurance in retirement. And health insurance in this country is golden. You got to have it. Sometimes health insurance is better than money.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Put
Yeah.
it plainly. So you gotta. So, but when you contribute to your 401k, you're contributing the money before you even get your paycheck. So by you doing that before you get your paycheck, that's already taken care of. You can do the same with your IRA. You can set up an IRA at any one of the investment brokerage houses here: Charles Schwab, T. Rowe Price, Edward Jones. So it's to do it before you ever receive your money. That way you know it's done.
Yes.
Then we're doing what? We are living on the income now. We got a true picture of income.
Right. Okay, so I do have a question from Dr. Randall Weber. Are any makeup contributions allowed in addition to the 7K?
Once you do the IRA, particularly because the 7,000, he's over 50 like I am. That's all that you can put in an IRA for the year. What you can do to do additional makeup contributions, Dr. Weber, is open you a brokerage account. And then you can put as much as you want to in there. The difference is that the earnings will be taxable.
Mm-hmm. It's not pre-tax, it's post-tax, right? So you have to pay tax on it when you make anything on it or you get it out, correct?
Okay. Gain. Even if you don't get it out, you have to pay the taxes on it because it's a capital gain. But capital gains is a much lower tax rate than our marginal income tax rate because it's capital gain. Because see, Julia, if I can say this here, that's how the 1% is the 1%. See, they don't earn income. They get investment income. That's taxed at a max of 15%. Whereas when you work for somebody, your income can be taxed up to 37%. That's the big difference. Capital gains only taxed at 15%. And then based on how you bring down your income, you could be taxed at 0. That's how the 1% is the 1%.
Is the 1%.
They don't earn income. They receive dividends, investment income.
Wow. Okay. So our job is to find the investments and that we can use so that we get at the 15% instead of the 37%.
Because when I had a brokerage account, I was taxed on that. But when based on what my income came down to adjusted gross, I might have paid 10% on that money. Whereas on my money that's withdrawn when I get paid every 2 weeks, Julia, I was paying a tax rate of 28%. See, big difference.
It's a huge difference. It's a huge difference. And now we know you teaching us at night, lady. That's the reason why, you're saying the 1% is the 1%.
That's why they're the
1%. So Karen says they just decided to add more to her husband's 401k. I decided when I retired, I looked at it's that whole looking at it. I looked at the insurance that I was getting, and it cost more for insurance me by myself than the insurance with me and my husband together for his insurance. Wow. That's how good his was. So I'm like, oh, no. I did not. So you have to, have
You got to have
um
a conversation. You got to look at it, and that's why planning is so important. So you can't wait. Get up here tomorrow and say I'm gonna retire.
yeah, no.
You can't.
No, no, no.
You
No.
can't. You
No.
can't. You gotta have. Julia said at the beginning. You gotta have a strategy. You
Yeah.
gotta be strategic. So I retire in 9 months, but I've been planning since 2014,
Yeah,
7
you
years
have.
ago.
Yeah, you have. Yeah.
Since
Yeah.
7 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can't come up here tomorrow and tell me I'm finna retire and don't know anything. Because here's the other thing you all got to know about in retirement. I want you tomorrow, go to your HR, get them on the phone or whatever. You need to know if your benefits are portable when you leave. Will your health insurance and life insurance go with you? And if they do, what are they going to cost you in retirement? Number two, will the benefits have the same coverage that you have today? You got to know that. Because
And how
see,
much will it increase every
how
year?
much will
Because
it
it's
increase
going
every
up
year?
every
That's
year. They were like, oh, well, it just costs more. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. When we came out, it was this amount. And now I've been out 3 years. He's been out 2 years. And now it's going up a level. So it makes a difference. And how much will they increase? Or do they guarantee that they don't even have no guarantees that it won't increase?
Listen,
So,
you're right. Healthcare costs go up at least 10 to 12% in this country every year. They do. The plans go up. I mean, I'm in federal government plan. We see at least a 9% increase every year in the rates. So you got to get HR on the phone tomorrow. And the other thing is that you need to look at your 401k. Do you understand what's in it and what you're invested in? And is it growing? Do you
yes.
see where your earnings have changed? Because in the federal government, we have the thrift savings plan, which is a 401k. So, last year, Julia, in the pandemic, when the market was tanking, just dropping and dropping, I had people calling me, talking me off the ledge. And, should I move my money to government security?
Right.
And,
Mm.
Julia, I tell people, if that's going to make you feel comfortable, then that's what you do to make you feel comfortable. But, when you have a strategic allocation, and that means that you're invested in all asset classes, some conservative, some bond, some growth, and some aggressive growth and growth in income, you're balanced. So there's nothing to worry about. Because I did
Right.
a seminar for federally employed women. And so I had a slide and I showed them. In 2020, y'all did some TSP panic pandemic moves. And let me tell you what it cost you. If you had $500,000 in your 401k and you moved everything to the G fund, government securities, you only earned $13,000 on your money. But if you'd had it strategic across all asset classes, growth and income, growth, aggressive growth, all of it, like I did, you'd had a 16% return. You'd made $188,000 on your money.
Hmm.
Mhm. So
So,
when you have a strategic
safety,
allocation, don't panic.
ugh. Yeah, you gotta be safe, but then you gotta be smart too. You
You
gotta
got to be
just,
safe and smart. But when you're safe and smart, Julia, you don't panic because a lot
yeah,
of that stuff you hear is noise. So I didn't panic when the market tanked because I took classes and studied it. What I know is this: the S&P 500 is the global business card to the world. I'm educating you all tonight. So you hear it on the news. If you're watching the news or you see something, S&P 500 is 500 global companies across the world. That is the business card and the index. Everything is benchmarked against that when it comes to stocks. Since
right.
1965, the year I was born, it has returned 11% every year. Every year. So we have market downturns, but they don't last longer than a year. This one in the pandemic only lasted a few months. The S&P returned 18% in the pandemic. So it's about the financial literacy again, getting educated, getting competent about it, learning the skills and building your knowledge, which is what we're doing tonight. So if you are strategically allocated across the asset classes, then there's nothing for you to worry about when the market is going here, going here. You don't worry about it because you'll look
Yeah.
up and it's back
My
up.
husband said, no, we're just sitting right there. We just, and I start, I'm the
Yeah,
girl who starts panicking.
you start
And
panicking,
he talks me off the ledge. He
he
talks
got
me
talked
down off
off
the
the ledge
ledge.
because he understands it's up and it's down. But the
Yeah.
S&P 500 has returned 11% for the last 55 years. The time it was down for the longest was in the Great Depression. That was it.
And
Since
hopefully
then,
we'll
we
never
live.
go back there again. Hopefully we'll prayerfully. Okay, so Dr. Weber says he is managing an estate with some inherited money. So that's the reason why he wants to know, can it be more than the 7,000? I guess that can we do something else with it? So he's got the opportunity to do that, which is a wonderful thing.
That,
Also,
that is a wonderful thing, but no, the 7,000 is the limit in the IRA. So what he can do is he go in a brokerage account. You can find some tax advantage things where you is non-taxable, like municipal bonds, because municipalities do streets, do this. That's tax-free money. So you can look to put the money in some tax-free investments.
Dr. Weber, go for it. I think that's a awesome thing, and something definitely to look into. If you need to reach out and have a conversation with Miss Rita Oliver, set up a time. Go to RitaOliverSOS.com. If you have questions, as we've had comments, be sure and put them in the comments section. Be sure and share this with a friend. Be sure and share this with a business owner who is looking to make those moves and may continue movement. And I'm going to have Miss Rita Oliver back again. Tonight we're talking about just really our financial literacy. There should be times in your life, your career, your business where you do take a checkup. I do it kind of on a monthly basis, quarterly basis. Every 6 months, I'm looking at it. The end of the year, I'm looking at it. I mean, Happy New Year. But my Happy New Year started January and February, March. I look at it, my money every month. I'm looking at what I'm doing, and then I'm checking up with my body. How do I feel? Do I want to be doing this continually? Do I want to? What adjustments do I need to make to get where I'm trying to go? And that is really what those financial checkups and all of the checkups for your body and listening to your body, but you're looking at your checkbook, you're looking at your money. You should be listening to what your money is saying too as well. And thank you so much, Miss Rita Oliver, for being here, helping us, honestly take a look. And of course, as I've had you before, you're extremely transparent on your own journey. I am too. I think the more we have these transparent conversations, we're able to ask and then make our own judgment calls. Everybody has to be okay with their own decision making, but you need to make sure that they're informed decisions and not just, well, so and so they thought they said it. But then you get this, go to your financial advisor to have a coaching call with Ms. Rita and get even more in-depth details as to where you should go and what you should do next, so that you can really live that best life you designed to live. Okay, wait a minute.
Absolutely.
Miss Virginia Lynn Brinson, what's the best investment for a 14-year-old?
Okay, for 14-year-old.
Oh, I'm
For
sorry, Miss Charlene, I'll get you next.
Okay. So for a 14-year-old, they are so young and they can take a whole lot of risk, Julia, because they got one of the most precious resources that we get every day and don't have to do anything to get, and that's time.
Yeah.
So they can take a little bit of money and build a lot of money over time. Now, one thing, I'm so glad she asked that question. 14-year-olds, 20-year-olds, and millennials, they love that telephone. So there is an app that can be downloaded on his or her phone called Stash, Stash, Stash. So Stash will allow him, for you to allow him to invest in stocks and invest in what's called exchange traded funds, which are types of mutual funds that have a plethora of many different stocks in them, but they trade just like a stock every day. A stock changes prices every second. So
Yeah.
the exchange traded fund does the same thing. So Stash is a great way to do it because Stash does not require you to do a lot of money. You can start with as little as $5 a week. Okay? Going in the Stash. So if he's a 14-year-old and he's getting money for chores, he can put a portion of that in Stash and buy things that he knows about. There are funds on there. What I love about them is they give them great names, Julia, to make them familiar with it. They have some called the Young Money Fund. They've got them called the Tech Giants, the Internet Titans. Doctor. So that's all those medical pharmaceutical companies: Merck, Johnson and Johnson, Pfizer. So Stash is a great thing for millennials because it doesn't require a whole lot of money. Yes, it's a phone app. And so it doesn't require a whole lot of money to do it. Like I said, you can start with little as $5 a week. I started out doing $25 a week. I do 50 now. I open a stash account because that's going to be my money, Julia, for my vacation
All
when
right.
I retire. And then you can also start your retirement account on Stash. You can do an IRA on Stash. So
Mm.
I say for the 14-year-old to look at it. And then there are so many exchange traded funds, and it's things that he's familiar with. Facebook, Google, they know all about that. So they're investing in what they already know and what they
Right.
already do.
Investing what you like. They did teach that
Right.
at us in college. The things that you use and the things that you support that you should definitely,
Yeah, so he
definitely.
should definitely so stash. And of course, if you want to more information about it, and you can call me, I'll tell you what I'm in. So
Okay.
I don't have any secrets about it. So I've
There,
been in
Rita
since 20.
Oliver, SOS.com.
Yeah,
Reach out to her, schedule a time. As they say, in 9 months, you're gonna have even more time. Hallelujah. But right now we got evening times and probably a couple weekend times,
yeah, that's true.
but we've got opportunity right now. Hold on 9 months because she's gonna be wide, as my mother said, she's gonna be wide open. Yay! Okay, so Miss Charlene Stewart asked about Robinhood. Have you ever used Robinhood?
I've never used Robinhood. I know Robinhood was in the news a lot with the GameStop issue of shorting the stock and everything. I mean, I can't speak to say it's good or bad. I have never used it.
I
Uh,
haven't either.
I have never used it. I think it's more than just investments. I think you can track your money or expenses in there as well.
Mm.
But if you're talking about investments, the only one I have ever used is Stash. I'm very happy with Stash.
Uh-huh.
They may charge me of $3 a month or whatever for the account, which I
Mhm.
think Julia is basically nothing because it's
Right.
coming off, when they pull the money out. But
Right.
I think you need to start with something. But
Right.
I'd recommend Stash because it's just investing. But I think Robinhood has a lot more than investing in it.
Right.
But
Yeah. I don't know anything about Robinhood. I use Acorns, which
yeah,
rounds up your money
yeah,
on your expenditures. I'm a debit card girl. I don't do much with credit cards, but I do have one, and that's it. But I'm usually pretty much a debit card girl, so I use Acorns, and then also look into Stockpile's another one that
yeah,
we use for buying stocks. So
yeah.
Stash
I'm
may
looking at
be
Robinhood
something
now.
else. I'm
So
at. Yeah.
I'm looking at Robinhood now. So it is for investing only,
Oh,
and so
okay.
it's commission free and probably the same as Stash. The thing I love about Stash is that you can get stocks and you can get exchange traded funds. Because I am not a big individual stock purchaser.
Oh, okay.
That's just not where I do. I do mutual funds and exchange traded funds because of the diversity that lessens my risk. Now you can get some that are real risky, but it lessens my risk, and I'm getting a plethora because you may have where technology is down, is up one day, but consumer discretionary, people not buying household goods is down, but
Right.
they don't balance it out. So yeah, so I'm not a big individual stock person.
Okay. So Karen asked, how do you deposit under Stash? Is that directly from an account, your
Yes,
bank account?
yes, they're going to connect to your bank account, and you tell them how much you want to do per week, and then they will just pull, and you tell them what day of the week that you want it to happen, and they will pull it from that bank account every week.
Okay, great. And Miss Charlene says she's going to do her homework and research. I agree. I'm going to look into Stash too myself, even though
Yeah,
I'm
I've been very,
on
very,
other
very
places.
happy with it. And as a matter
Especially
of
when
fact,
it's when you can jump in as a young person at that $5 mark. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, you paying them $25 a week. So if they took $10 of that and put it in Stash a week, I mean, you
Yeah.
think about it, he's 14 and he's doing that 52 weeks over time, and he continues that.
Oh my.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good thing. That's a great thing.
that's a
And
great thing.
they did that, people have said they need to teach it in schools. But I'm like, if they never teach it in school, you still gotta teach your own child. So,
True. And
we
what
have to
happened
teach
with
them.
that, Julia, is that by the fact that he gets accustomed to having that money withdrawn, he's starting to build discipline now about living on less than he makes.
Right.
And then he's consistent with it being done automatically. So he will carry that on in life because he's been accustomed to it.
Right, right. And them habits, that's, I tell people, we've been in a habit for a year. It's going to be hard to change some of these habits to go back to the old life. I'm serious. We've been in
That's
these
true.
habits for a
That's true.
solid year. So if we
That's
can
true.
create
But you know now,
habits while they're young, oh, this is great.
I read the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. And Mr. Clear said something in that book, Julie, that changed it all for me. He said it's not about your habits, it's about your systems. If
Mm,
you got a bad system supporting the habit, you ain't gonna never break the habit. So you
mm.
got to get behind the system that's supporting the habit. So I'm gonna give you an example. So I work out. So what I realized, my nemesis for me is smoked Gouda pimento cheese dip and some potato chips. Okay, that's my nemesis. So
I don't know about the Gouda, but chips.
that was my
Raise your hand. Come on, I'm not the only one. Y'all gonna leave me hanging
that
up
was my
here?
nemesis. But then when I read what he said, that not your habit, he said it's about the systems that you supporting the habit with. So then I had to go back and break it down, Julia. I said, okay, if I don't bring it in the house, it can't get in my mouth. And then if I don't go down the junk food out, it'll never come in the house.
Right.
That was the system. I
Yeah.
had to break the system that was supporting the habit. I can't bring it in the house and I can't go down the aisle. Then I had to also look at what do I need to do, because I got a goal here that I want to be healthy. I
Yeah.
do want to be slimmer. So I said, and I wrote down this on my refrigerator. Chips and cheese are not going to get you to your goal.
Yeah.
You got to get enough sleep to have a performance in your workout, and you got to drink enough water. So I'm putting in a different system. So then I have an app on my phone to remind me about the water. I have an app on the phone reminds me to go to sleep. It's the systems. You got to change the systems you got, and you'll change the habit.
Yeah. Because if you want something different, you gotta have to do something different.
You got to do
And
something
that
different.
system you gotta put in place. I mean, you gotta find that app, you gotta adhere to it. It just can't be blink and drink water. You gotta go and get your cup and put water in it. Hello, there's mine.
Yeah, you
And
do.
you just, yeah, it is what it is. And your body is talking to you. Because one, if you're eating the wrong thing, you're gonna gain weight. And then another thing, as you get older, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna say ouch, and a
It's
bone is
gonna
gonna
hurt
pop in.
when you get up out the bed. It's gonna hurt.
It's gonna hurt.
And then and it systems with money. So
Yeah.
you can't keep swiping and signing and thinking you're gonna have some money in retirement.
Yeah, no, it ain't gonna
You can't.
happen. It ain't gonna
It
happen.
ain't gonna happen, because
No,
it's
it ain't
gonna
gonna
take
happen.
all of your money that you get in retirement, because you're gonna be paying all of it to the bills. I read something the other day. You see, what did the lady have on there? She said people in debt making the banks rich. People that's investing making themselves rich.
Yeah,
So you got to make a decision who you gonna make rich.
exactly. And you got to decide, and it's a decision that you have to make, and you just have to say no. It's just certain things but I tell you what, it is so rewarding when because a lot of the things Brian, when I married him, I was like, ooh, I didn't have a clue, but at the end, I'm fussing, under my breath, mumbling all the way. But at the end, when the goal is done and the award is
Yeah.
yay, when we start paying double mortgage payments and all that sort of thing, and then when the letter saying it's zero, ooh, I got it framed. I was like, yay, ta-da! It was a wonderful thing. It was a
Right.
sacrifice.
It's a
I'm gritting my teeth on, but yeah,
it's tough when you're in it doing it. Same thing for me and paying my home off. It's tough in it. But when you get on that other side, it's a whole different ballgame. But it's just a sacrifice for an amount of time.
yes, it's not
For a
forever.
small
Yeah,
amount of time. That's
it's
all
not
this
forever.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah,
I know the third one is wills.
yep.
Okay. So we're going to talk about wills. So, we talked about income and expenses, knowing your net income, knowing your expenses, those fixed and variable, and reducing and eliminating the variable. And then when you do that and know that, then it's contributing to your retirement, having money to live on when you stop working. And as I've said, you need to contribute to your employer sponsor plan, have it taken out of your account, taken out of your check before you get it. Same thing with doing an IRA. And if you want to open a brokerage account or even open a stash account, then when you do all that, culminating with your income and expenses, having a savings account, having your retirement, having your home paid for, having an IRA or investments in a brokerage account or something like stash, it comes down to the very end, the estate planning, which is about putting all the assets in a plan. Estate planning is about the arranging and planning for your assets and for you for when you're not here. And estate planning is so critically important in our lives. We have got to do that. That is really important in our financial literacy and financial checkup. In the pandemic here in the last year, when we saw COVID come in here to America and people start leaving us, I asked the question, did people have their estate plan in place? They went to the hospital thinking they were coming home, but it didn't come home. So did they have the plan in place? So it's important that you have your estate plan in place. And what that is that you need to have a will or you need to have a trust so that your assets are accounted for and arranged to be passed on and distributed to your family. So that that's leaving that legacy so that then they can go out and do some good in the world. The other thing is that to do that, you have the will. The will is a document where you lay out all your assets and you say who you want to leave what. The trust is basically an instrument that's used that you have a trustee, a trustor, and you have beneficiaries. The trust is the same like a will, but it incorporates the will. And you put all of the assets in the trust. Trust has many tax advantages, and trust gives you privacy, meaning that when you do a will, it will go through probate, and your family will have to pay money to the court to do the probate. And then it's also public, and anybody can come down there and protest it. But when you do a trust, it's private, only between those people that need to know, the beneficiaries and your trustee. So also what's important in estate planning is titling your property. We just talked about paying off your home. So you have sole ownership. You also have what's called tenancy in common, and you have joint tenancy with right of survivorship. You need to know the titling on your property because it varies in each state. Each state has their own set of estate tax planning laws. But the key here is this. You got to have that estate plan done, because if you don't have it done, what will happen is when you pass on, you will die in what's called intestate, meaning then that the state where you live will determine the order of distribution of your assets. So therefore, it is imperative that you sit down with an estate tax planning attorney licensed to practice in your state to put together your estate plan, to put together the will, put together the trust. I did a living revocable trust in 2016. All of my assets are in there. Home, car, everything, and I have the will. It's already set up. Brother and sister will be the executors of it. Nieces and nephews will benefit from it too. I have peace of mind on that. I've already done all of that so that I don't have to worry that if something happens to me, it is already arranged for. You owe your family the responsibility of you taking care of this, because if you don't take care of this, you're going to leave them here in a mess, and they're going to spend a whole lot of money paying attorneys to prove who they are and that they're entitled to what you have. So when you can take the time today to get with an estate tax planning attorney to put together your estate plan, then you need to do that today. The other thing is that at your job, your beneficiary forms, you need to look at those. Are they updated? You may have people on there that you have as beneficiaries that have died. You don't update that and you pass away, nobody's going to get that money. They're not going to get the money. The people are gone. There's no money. So it's imperative that you do that. So when you do the income and expenses, directing with the budget, with the vision, planning for retirement, building assets, and then gifting those on to your family, you got to have it legally arranged for everything to work, and your family is owed that.
So that's phenomenal. We've seen so many horror stories,
Yes.
so many horror stories of people and all that expense. So Miss Virginia Brinson says, what's the difference between a trust and a will?
So a will is a legal document where a will and testament is outlining that of the assets that you want to leave, and you who you want to leave it to, what amount, and how you want to distribute it. And so that document has to go through the court. Okay. It has to go through the court so that when that person dies, then you have to get with an attorney, go to the court and go through probate court so that the judge can rule that you all can start distributing the assets. The trust is not a person, it's not a corporation, but is an entity that allows you to put your assets into it, including your beneficiary forms at work. You can have the beneficiary to be the trust. So you have a living revocable trust that allows you to put all your assets in it, and it does contain a will, what's called a pour over will, so that anything you did when you created the trust that didn't go in there, the pour over will will take care of it and pour it over into there when you die. Anything you accumulated after that. So the
Right.
trust is a created where, as I said, you have a trustee, you have the beneficiaries. The trust does not require you to go to court. It's a private matter, and it's only between the trustee and those people that you have outlined to say who will be the beneficiary.
So the courts don't determine any part of that.
The courts don't
Okay.
even know about it. It's between the
Okay.
trustee and your beneficiaries.
Okay. So do you need an attorney to do that?
You need an attorney for both of them.
Okay. Okay.
The terms, both of them. The will is the most simple thing because a lot of people don't have that. But if you got to do something, you do a will. I did the trust because I learned about the trust when I did my estate planning class and how the privacy that the trust gives you and the fact you don't have to go to court.
Right. So is somebody else administer it or the trustees administer it?
The trustee, the person that set it up, the trustee will administer it.
Okay.
And so then, because like the trust that I have sent a thumb drive to my brother and sister. So
Okay.
when something happens, all they have to do is it's filed in the state of Texas, and all they have to do is contact the trustee, and they start going through doing whatever.
If something happens, and is there a clause for if something unbeknownst, an accident or something happens to them? Is there a subsidiary trustee or a next level?
If one of them goes, so at first when I did it, I had my two brothers and sister. My older brother passed away. So then it is a clause in there that then that portion will be split among the rest of them.
Okay.
Now, I'll tell you a good thing too, Julia, that my attorney put in there that I learned on the trust. So we put a divorce protection in the trust. So say what my attorney told me is this, and you all hear me, he told me this. He said, the one thing when you leave assets to somebody, do not put lump sums of cash or money in anybody's hand. He said, because if you do, 4 people going to come out the woodwork after them for the money. In-laws, outlaws, creditors, and predators. He said they're coming for him to get that money. So what he had me to do is he said, for my little niece, he said, so if you were to leave your niece this large sum of money, he said, then your niece is married. Her husband could then divorce and he'd get half of it. But you left that money to your niece. He said, but in this, with a divorce protection, he can leave her, but see, a trust is not a human being nor a corporation. He has no access to the money because she's the only one.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. We got to make note of that. Take note of. I mean, it's the truth. I mean, we got the predators out there, and that is a great.
Do not put a lump sum in anybody's hand. So the trust allows you, particularly, Julia, say people who have money and they have children that are spendthrifts.
Yeah. So like the 14, like the lady with the 14-year-old son. God forbid something happened to her, but if her 14-year-old child is left in the care of somebody else, like what happens?
That's correct. So then what if she were to do a trust, she could set it up that trustee that no money is dispersed, that the person that is taking care of him could take money out to take care of him, but she could put a clause that she can only take so much a year out.
Okay.
But then she could put a clause that when he turns 21, he could get so much. When he turns 27, he could get so much. He can never take, she can put a clause, and that's what I've done. They can never take all of it out.
Right. And so 35 you can get, and 40, whatever's left, whatever. Yeah. That's right. 45, 50, right. And a certain level.
The trust gives you, the trust really, Julia, speaks, you are speaking from the grave as to who will get what and how much and when.
Okay.
That's what the trust allows.
On top of a will. So that's even more secure.
Even more, particularly if you're trying to protect things. Because the trust, if there are assets in there, the trust is growing, the trust is making income. So it is going, because when you hear about people saying the The trust owns this. The trust is generate income. The trust has to file taxes once people start dispersing money out of it. So
Right.
trust, the thing I loved about it is the privacy.
Yeah. Yeah. And you did, and you're getting determined. So, well,
And you're
first off, I got to tell you, thank you. Now, y'all got a wealth of information tonight. I
it,
mean, a wealth, a wealth, a wealth. So go to moneybit.ly/money checkup 2 and download the complete, because we only did 3 things tonight. There's way more of that
there's way more
on
on the checklist.
on the
Yeah,
checklist
yeah,
itself. And then
way more.
the other thing, most definitely. And then the other thing is go to RitaOliverSOS.com to be able to have a conversation, set up some time. If you say, I need a one on one, I have an individual thing, because I know I wanted you to bring your question tonight, but money is a private thing. So you can set up
Yeah,
the opportunity to speak with Miss Rita Oliver privately. And believe you me, she's extremely knowledgeable. And I know if you come up with something individual or something that she hasn't seen, which is not much, which she hasn't seen, I'm quite sure she will get the answer for you.
oh, yeah.
So go to Rita Oliver SOS.com. Let me see the comments. Miss Karen says, thank you, thank
Oh,
you.
you're welcome, Karen.
And you're welcome. And hopefully we've had some wonderful discussion tonight. And just I've learned a lot. My head is spinning, and making sure I got to check up on my own information in my own life. And well, Mr. Royce, to make sure I do that. Hello. But
You need to know. You need to know. Do you?
I need to know, and then most
Yeah,
definitely, he makes me aware. That's another thing. We'll talk about that. Be sure and go when you go to Rita Oliver SOS. She has some wonderful books. So her books you need to give to the people that are getting married.
yeah,
And if you have, because I know we've talked about that before, but her books, be sure and go to Rita Oliver SOS. They're beautiful covers, but there's some wonderful information in there about to get the information, before you disrobe,
disclose before
disclose
you
before you
disrupt.
disrobe. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
I love it.
So,
It's a beautiful book, and there's journals and everything with that. So that's, to me, besides the yeah, you learned a lot. I'm so glad. I'm so
great,
glad.
good. I am okay. Great, excellent,
And
excellent.
so before,
That was the objective here. That
right.
was the
That's the
primary
objective
objective.
for financial literacy, and really for you to learn a lot, and then really start thinking, putting your things down on paper, and then
Yeah,
realizing I've got more expenses than I have income. Well, you're
that's
out of
right.
balance, and how to fix how you're going to get in balance is a critical thing. But back to getting married, in addition to the toaster and the mixer, throw them books in there. Disclose before you disrobe, so
Yeah,
that you can
because
help
you would be
get the
ready to
young
throw
couple.
toast at him when the something happened with the money.
I know when the money ain't right, it is right. The money ain't right. Yeah, that toaster goes out the window, and then plates start crashing on the floor. Ah, Lordy. But we've got to get that money thing right, because we've got a next generation that we've got to
Yeah,
help, and
yes,
turn that tide from
yeah,
generational curses to generational wealth and generational blessings. That's where we've got to go. And a lot of our habits, we got to stop them. And
yeah.
I'm one of the first ones to say that I have to definitely stop it. Miss Rita Oliver, it's been a pleasure.
Pleasure's all
Yeah.
mine,
So
Julia. Pleasure's all
so Miss
mine.
Virginia says I'm buying a house in a few weeks, so I need a will and a trust. Yes, ma'am. If you got a
Yeah,
14-year-old, yes, ma'am, you need that.
yes,
And
yeah. So
congratulations on the house. But
yeah,
yeah, you need to make
congratulations.
sure
So
you got
yeah,
a
when she
will and a trust. Yeah.
yeah, once she gets that clothes and that assets in her name, she got to get that in the
Yeah, get that for the 14-year-old. I don't know if it's a girl or a boy, it doesn't matter. The 14-year-old needs protection, and you do
yeah,
too.
and
And
she
you
does
need to
too.
be able to, yeah, you do too, to be able to sleep at night. This has been phenomenal as always. I was excited about it, and look forward to it. So
Me
Miss Rita
too.
Oliver, SOS.com, be sure and reach out to her and make that connection. Follow her on social media. She gives some wonderful tips and all kinds of information. I see them the next morning because I'm usually in bed by now. But because y'all know I go to bed early, but and I
You know,
usually
going to
watch
bed
it on the
early is a good
replay.
thing. The pandemic
Yeah.
taught me about going to bed early, getting my rest.
Well, I've always been an early to bed, early to rise type chick. So next week I'll be back at 7 p.m. With Dr. Tamara Bowles. We're going to be talking about her book, Cleaning Out Your Garden. So we've been dealing with your money. Now we're going to clean out the garden and see some other things and probably. And tonight we talked about cleaning out closets. So we're going to be cleaning out some other gardens in our emotions and in our a life. So we'll be right back here next Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Miss Rita Oliver, you know I love you and I appreciate
Love
you.
you too, Julia.
And
Thank you so much.
one of these days we're gonna get back in live and in person and go around and sit and look at some water and eat some
Yeah,
fish and teach
yes,
some
yes,
people and
yeah.
bless some people. All
I
right.
can't wait to get back to the Pacific Northwest.
Oh yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. Tell Felita we on our way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And we'll
yeah.
get to
I'm ready.
Alaska too. That's what I'm saving for. I want to
Oh,
go to
okay,
Alaska.
okay.
Yeah, I want to get
Yeah,
up there.
I had planned to do the Alaskan cruise, but I'm not gonna go on a cruise for a long time.
No, it's gonna be a while for the cruise. I just want to get there, so we
Yeah,
can get
yeah,
on a plane, Alaska Air. We can get on a plane and we can go on
yeah.
up
That's
there.
true.
We can
Some
go
great,
hang out at the bay in Seattle and all that, and then we gonna
yeah,
head on up
precious
and get on
salmon.
the plane.
Yes.
Yeah, we gonna get some. See, maybe. Here we go. All right, bye, love.
All
I
right.
appreciate
Bye.
you. Thank you for
Bye,
everything.
everybody.
Good night, everybody. Bye
Good
bye.
night.